Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. This concludes our brief series on moments of mindfulness. And today we're going to use a meditation that can give us a sense of freedom. All of the meditations I've been sharing are taken from Touching Peace by Thich Nhat Hanh, a book I highly recommend. And just like to clarify that meditation does not need to be religious, though it is for many people. For myself, it's a way to get clarity and to improve my understanding of myself, others, and the way I interact with the world. We began with acknowledging our breath to develop a sense of calm. We moved on to envisioning ourselves as flowers and feeling that sense of freshness to give ourselves a sense of freshness. We developed the sense of solidity and being able to last through changing emotions and events as we reflected on ourselves as mountains. Then we moved into the concept of our mind reflecting reality just as still water does, so that we acknowledge the way things actually are and then are able to take those things in and react to them appropriately. And then finally, today, this is a scene that many of us long for as we're in isolation, but also this can be a frenetic, busy, even worrying feeling to be in that massive humanity. And so today, as we think about space, I thought this was a great image to start us off with, because we can imagine those people as being our thoughts, or our needs, or our desires, or for many of us right now, our to-do list. All the things that we feel we owe ourselves to. And so we want to acknowledge that there are so many things out there, but that maybe we can find some focus. For some people, it helps to have this idea of space, kind of the great beyond, to think of millions of light years between stars and billions between galaxies. For others, that can be overwhelming. So maybe we think of another sense of open space, maybe a beautiful pasture, or maybe just kind of a white open space, whatever helps you to reflect on this. Regardless of how you choose to envision space, the point is that we want to enable ourselves to feel more free. So in this meditation, we breathe in and see ourselves as space or within space, so that breathing out, we can feel free. And that freedom is the ability to release ourselves from our responsibilities and our duty and these things that can distract us, because so often we're trying to do everything. This reminds me of that old tale of the man who lived in the very small cottage, and he goes to a village wise man and says, "My wife and I are so cramped in this one little room. What can we do?" And the wise man says, "First, do you have any chickens?" "Yes." "Well, bring the chickens in the house with you." And of course, I'm sure you're familiar with the story. Goes on and on. He brings in the dog and the cow and visitors maybe, until there's literally no room left to stand in the cottage. And then on the final day, he says, "I've done everything you've said, and things are getting worse and worse. My wife's so frustrated with me." And the man says, "Well, take everything else back out except for you and your wife." Of course, the moral being that there was plenty of space there originally. Well, for us, we cannot be happy, and we can't really dig into our passions, and we can't be as effective as possible when we're trying to do 1,000 things at once. We need to give ourselves that mental space, and even if we can, that physical space, to allow ourselves to breathe and then to focus and dedicate our whole self in that moment to whatever we're doing. And one way to make this more possible is to plan those moments in the day when we're not being what might be seen by others as productive. A good friend of mine recently gave me the advice to plan out time for lunch, plan out time in the evening for a walk with my daughter, things like that, because those things are so easy to miss when we're trying to get everything done. And that 15 minutes, 20 minutes break is time I'm not getting something done, but it's time that we can give ourselves space and kind of let our thoughts regroup, and hopefully give more to what we're doing. So again, as we breathe in, we feel that we are space, and we breathe out, we want ourselves to feel free. With the goal being, we feel like this guy right here, that we can just take those moments and lean back and feel content with what we're doing now or what we have done or with who we are. So I hope that this series has been helpful. The goal is that we've learned some skills to make ourselves calm, to help ourselves feel fresh, to recognize that we're solid, to give ourselves that sense of clarity and reflecting reality as it is, and then also to give ourselves that sense of freedom. Please take a moment to visit the core contributes so that you can download our reflection journal and to find other ways that you can learn. And as always, not only is that journal helpful for your own learning, but you can get CTLE credit or even college credit if you keep track of that. And then we are a network of learners. So we hope you'll be highly engaged with us, share the great things you're doing with us, and then check in to see what our partners are creating and doing. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.